Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective with Jon Tran as always. As promised, our Texas Longhorns football 2018 midseason recap. It's going to be a video of good vibes, very positive. Great season, ranked 6th in the country.
Seems short, but seemed like an eternity as well. Too.
I know. We've already played 7 football games, only 5 to go in the regular season. Sitting on top of the Big 12, as we've said over and over again, all their goals in front of them.
Yep.
So we're actually going to start off with some superlatives, if that's cool with you. And I want to start off just right off the bat. Best newcomer to this football team, who's caught your attention, who's been that guy that's come in here and ignited this program.
Yeah, this one was actually a pretty tough one when you sent me over these questions. All of the young guys there's been a whole bunch of young guys that have made a positive impact on the field for our team. But one stands head and shoulders above the others, and that's Katy Stearns.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's gotten all the national recognition. He's nominated. Yeah, he's got a nickname. So young, and he's nominated for the best defensive back in the nation.
Yep.
And he's the only freshman.
Watch list. Yeah.
With that said, there was another Texas Longhorn that was nominated for the Thorpe Award, Chris Boyd. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, when I saw the list, I thought they thought they were putting Brandon Jones on there. And they just got the numbers mixed up. Because I don't know how you could objectively watch this UT football game over 7 games and think that Chris Boyd has been a better defensive back than Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones has been one of the unsung heroes of this team.
The leader of the defense.
Absolutely. He's been the main guy communicating everything back there. He's generated turnovers. He's one of our leading tacklers. Chris Boyd, on the other hand, has been up and down, and you're going to touch on the seniors and those guys later. And I'm not saying Chris Boyd has had a poor season, right, but he's been Chris Boyd. He's been his normal, it's been a normal roller coaster ride for him at corner. So for him to get to garner that type of accolade, and I hate to just come off hate, but it was just like perplexing that Brandon Jones got left out. I saw Deshaun Elliott actually tweeted and was like, and I loved, Brandon Jones, Bless Jones 33, for those of you who want to follow him on Twitter. He was just like more motivation big bro. So I'm with it. I honestly think the national pundits just got them confused.
I completely agree with what you said, and not only that too, I honestly think that Davis has played better than him too. Yeah,
Devontae Davis. I mean, he's given up a couple touchdowns, but so is Chris Boyd.
One of his touchdowns that he gave up though was a big push off of Mims. Yeah. I think he's played.
Teams have it seems like they've targeted Boyd more than Davis for whatever. And to defend Boyd, he does get typically the number 1 guy every week. Depending
and he does have 9 pass breakups.
Yeah, so he hasn't played poorly, but it was just a little perplexing. Going back though to the newcomer conversation, I'm with you on Katy Stearns. I think it's tough because this freshman class as a whole has played well. We've had some JUCO guys come in and play well and be effective as season-long starters. One other guy I want to mention as an honorable mention, so to speak, Keontae Ingram.
Yep.
He's revitalized this Texas run game. We've kind of been in the dark since Deontay Foreman, declared for the NFL draft, obviously after winning the Doak Walker Award. And I said it when I watched him on film at Carthage, and seeing him now, he looks like a baby Jamal Charles. Not as fast, but in terms of just how he runs and how fluid he's been. And to see him get more and more touches, not turning over the football, having reliable hands in the pass game, picking up his pass pro assignments, I've been really, really impressed with him, especially since he didn't get here until the fall, too. And he seems to have picked up on things really, really quick. Let's go into team MVP. I'll start off.
Okay.
And I have LJ Humphrey, and I've been saying that, throughout the season. I know him and Colin Johnson's numbers are pretty neck and even. And assuming, with a potential Big 12 championship game and a bowl game, they're both on pace to be well over 1,000 yards receiving. But my thing with LJ Humphrey is he has been one of the most consistent playmakers we've had in a while. Every single game this year, I can pinpoint plays that he's made either move the chains
at multiple positions.
at multiple positions. As Tom Herman said before the season, he's my Swiss Army knife. And that the position he plays in a Tom Herman offense, going back to Jalen Marshall at Ohio State, you know, the tight end that they had at Rice, all these guys, James Casey, I think it was, all these guys, that position is so vital for success, and something where we kind of were platooning guys in last year, right? So and then also, you know, we're talking about the stuff he's done in the goal line work, right? Sam Ellinger goes down, he takes over and runs quarterback power. He can throw out of it. Just so many plays that he's made this year. He's my MVP thus far. Now, will he be the MVP at the end of the season? That's a different question, but so far he's mine.
Right. Mine. I went off of the acronym Most Valuable Player. I feel, and it's going to be Sam Ellinger. I feel if you take him off this team, we're mediocre. And I'm not taking anything away from I'm not taking anything away from LJ, but without Sam getting him the ball, a lot of the times he's not going to be able to break those tackles that he's making. Those amazing plays he's been making. But you saw what happened with Shane Buechele in the game. I think he had one of his least productive games.
Yeah, and all of his stuff had to come off screen.
Yeah, it had to come off of. It wasn't those 15-yard hooks where he makes the play, but we're gonna hopefully we don't have to see that where he gets knocked out because of the injury and everything like that. Hopefully he heals completely fine and we can continue building off of the success that both of those.
I have Sam up there as well. The reason why I didn't have him as my MVP is we did win a football game pretty much without him against Baylor the week before, and he had that fourth quarter against Maryland. So that's kind of going. But overall, he's the most important player. I will definitely give you that. He's definitely the most important player. And like I said, this is mid-season, so as we see how things play out, you know, we'll obviously have our end of the year reviews and stuff as well. Who's been the biggest surprise for you? Either player, group, coach, you know, game. What is it? Just overall biggest surprise for you this season?
The biggest surprise for me is the youth movement. I mean, it's
revolutionary team.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to see these guys play so well, so young, and that's one of the biggest things. People don't understand that you can have that 5-star rating, but when you're going into a situation where you're playing against boys in high school and then now you're playing against men, bigger, faster, stronger, it's really hard to ramp up and live up to that 5-star rating of yours. So for them to play so young and play so well young, that's to me very impressive.
There's so many guys that have chipped in from that class that we don't talk about enough. The BJ Fosters,
of course, yes.
You know, even some guys like we just touched on Ingram. You know, even some of the guys that have played just a few snaps at wide receiver, they've come in and looked confident.
Josh Moore caught a really nice touchdown pass.
Deshaun Jameson, his contributions on special teams. So all across the board, they look like their moniker, that they're ready to be the revolution for this program, and they've lived up to that billing. I can't argue with that at all. For me, just going big picture here, I would say the biggest surprise of the season was the 4-0. Through that gauntlet of death.
After the first two games too.
Absolutely, especially after Maryland, Tulsa. For us to go 4-0, USC, Kansas State, TCU, OU, and many of those games looked dominant. That was shocking to me, considering even before the season what we talked about. We both made our predictions, and I think you said 3-1, I said 2-2. But 4-0, I don't know if any fan, even of the program, saw that coming, let alone the national pundit. So that's been, you know, and that's really jolted us to where we are now, right? Ranked number 6, you know, some Ohio State losing this past week to Purdue. Rondell Moore.
It looks so good.
The one that got away.
Colin Johnson and LJ and Rondell Moore.
Oh man, that brother is on another level. But shout out to him. He did what was best for him. Stay close to home, and he went into an offense that Brom and them said, we're gonna feature you. You know, you're gonna be
Reggie Bush.
Our guy. You're our Reggie Bush. You're our Percy Harvin. all the above, and he's being utilized in that manner. I don't think there's any other school he could have gone to where he would have gotten the touches immediately.
Yeah.
So obviously he made the right decision. He's become a household name amongst college football fans. But going back to my point, it's, these games, that winning streak 4-0 has propelled us to where we are now, and I'm just, I'm ecstatic about it.
Same.
Now, with that being said, all the positives and all the songs we're singing about this team, there have been some disappointing moments, and there's never perfection. There's always things that we can improve upon. So we will have now our biggest disappointments. What's been the biggest disappointment for you this year?
So my biggest impressive moment is the freshman movement. My biggest disappointment is the senior leadership. Honestly, it's to me. And I'm not saying that they're playing bad. And I'm not saying leadership themselves. I'm just saying the leaders who are the seniors. You would expect them to build on that success that they experienced last year, but you don't really see the improvement
coming off the bowl win.
Yes, off that big bowl win against Missouri, who had one of the top offenses in the country.
Right.
At the beginning of this season, you didn't see them get a push on the line. You're finally starting to see them get their bearings.
Certain guys, yeah. Charles Minihue has obviously gotten going. Gary Johnson.
And Gary Johnson has been playing well. Mm-hmm. And but if you think of the two seniors of this class that are playing exceptionally well, you'd say Gary Johnson and Calvin Anderson. Those are the two that you're thinking of. The Ominahu has NFL size and strength, and he hasn't been playing to it until the past couple of games.
Yeah,
and
he's put up the numbers now.
I do think you'll see an explosion this week for the defensive line, because from watching Oklahoma State, their offensive line has not been that good.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see the stats being padded, but I want to see them build on that, and because I was expecting a senior-led defense to be unstoppable.
Lights out.
Yeah, unstoppable.
And Chris Boyd, I
PJ Locke too.
PJ
Locke too.
Brecken Hager.
Mm-hmm.
It's been,
Nelly's been playing pretty well lately.
Yeah, he's picked it up. But he again, if we're going to give him credit for picking it up, beginning of the season, he was one of those, it's like, where are you? And for him in particular, replacing Poona Ford, very, very difficult ask is Tom Herman. I don't think Tom Herman has spoken more, gleamingly over a player than...
And Jon Tran. As well.
Than Poona Ford. So, for me, I agree with you there. For me, Devin Duvernay. And it's not necessarily Devin Duvernay's fault.
It's not his fault.
It's the fact that that's the final tier to this offense. And for whatever reason, I said it last week, no matter who's at quarterback, we've had issues connecting on him, and he's breaking people off downfield like you would not believe. And
as we can actually start hitting that, though, we will be almost unstoppable.
That's why it says final tier. Because he can take the top off the defense. He's the guy. We talked about Oklahoma's speed and how they had those one-play touchdowns win it. He's capable of that. Am I saying he's Hollywood Brown fast? No. But he has elite speed to get behind safeties. Just the frustrations with not only missing him, but some of them have turned to turnovers, trying to get him the ball. And he's done his job. He's been a good soldier in the blocking game.
Yep.
He made some really critical, move the chain catches against Oklahoma. But overall, just the way he's been used really since he's been here, it's been a constant point of frustration for me personally, because I know what this offense can look like if they can just hit him in stride on some of those
plays. A little bit of DJ Monroe,
even Marquise Goodwin
till the senior season.
Just like, dang, this guy's always behind the defense, but we can't.
Yep, I agree completely, and like you said, it's not his fault. But once we start hitting that, because I don't think we're very far away from starting to hit that consistently, maybe once or twice.
The plays are there, and they're dialing them up.
Yes, and they're getting the separation. He's absolutely getting the separation. We just need to hit those. We just need to hit those passes.
Who's been the most underrated player in your opinion this season?
Mine, it's a guy who does all the dirty work. It's Andrew Beck. A lot of people aren't going to see it because you're not going to see. We don't really have a passing tight end game yet, but the blocks that he sets, the toughness that he brings, it's pretty impressive to me, especially when you're not getting the ball. You know, and you're an offensive player that should get the ball.
Not consistently.
Not consistently, and he's just taking it. Going to the senior leadership, he's taking it as a.
And look, tight end was a big problem last year, right? You know, we had to play Cade Brewer early. Reese Latel had obviously his issues, and we had that transfer that was in here from Syracuse. That was more. I think it was Kendall Moore. That was more of like a blocker. So having Andrew Beck play this extra year with the medical red shirt, he's been invaluable in terms of his leadership, just communicating, being able to block on the perimeter. They line him up in the slot. It allows them to be more versatile in their scheme. For me, I'm going to go with another offensive player, Calvin Anderson, who you mentioned earlier. Huge pickup. You know, obviously not just replacing Connor Williams, because Connor Williams was banged up a lot last year, but you saw the issues that we had on the offensive line once he went down. And we had guys that just weren't ready to assume that position, especially at left tackle, obviously the most important position on the offensive line. And Calvin Anderson has done two things for us this year. Number one, he's had great play. He's kept clean. I haven't really seen him give up, any sacks unless it was a coverage sack. And he's been a great performer in the run game as well. So he solidified that position. You don't hear us talking about the tackles really at the game because Cosme's done a great job on the right side. The other thing that Calvin Anderson has done is he's bought them time to get their tackles ready long term.
Yes.
Herb handed them. Denzel Okafor is redshirting guys. He had to play a lot last year. So now Denzel Okafor, they can work on his body, work on his technique. He can be ready to slide in probably on the right side, and they probably kick Cosme over to the left tackle because I know they think he's Connor Williams Jr. And you can roll with young players.
You said it perfectly.
They've allowed them to develop in redshirt.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. It allows him to catch up mentally and physically to his size, and also see someone who's seen so many. I think he started all 4 years
at Rice.
So he gets to see a guy he's playing his 5th year now, understanding different schemes and different blocking schemes, and he gets to learn from that. It's kind of like in the NFL when they draft a quarterback for the next future quarterback, they get to learn underneath them.
It's vital. Denzel Okafor, Derek Kerstetter, who I know has been going back and forth between our Reese Moore, who's a young guy that we brought in. Just really impressed overall with these guys not being forced in there and being asked to do things that they're not even physically capable of doing. So thank you, Calvin Anderson. You've been a godsend, and honestly, he hasn't been thanked enough. My last point of discussion, then we're going to get into some of the comments that you guys left on the previous video. Which game left on the schedule? Because now we got to look forward. Obviously, we go to Oklahoma State, Stillwater this weekend. Very dangerous game at night for more, to me, mental reasons than the abilities of the opponent.
Right.
It's a Mike Gundy team. We haven't beaten them since 2014. We covered that last week. But in terms of is there any game that you're circling on the schedule
To me, that's kind of like a loaded question because if we say it wrong and we lose a game to a different team and say you guys said it wrong,
you overlooked them,
and we're not good enough to overlook any of these teams on the schedule at all. If I had to choose one, it would be Texas Tech because it's right after possibly a top 10 matchup between West Virginia and Texas the week after, but we're playing in Lubbock. And we have history there that when both teams are top 10, they pull something out of the hat and beat us, last second. Plus, they are actually improved on defense.
Yeah.
And they got their starting quarterback back. It's a lot of stuff that are coming to a head.
I think Texas Tech I agree with you, by the way. I'm going to go Texas Tech as well. That game scares me. They had the most people, I think, that made all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, but I believe Texas Tech had the most defenders on the All Big 12 preseason team. And so they have people at all three levels that, they've been working on it, they've been trying to recruit for it. The other thing that scares me about them is they're very balanced on offense. They can run the football. It's not your typical air raid. Now they do. Alan Bowman has thrown the ball, 60 times already, or whatever.
Yep.
But they have 2 running backs that can get 100 yards.
And they have
their wide receiver core, and they have the type of wide receivers that we have traditionally struggled with, right? Those quick twitch guys that can get downfield.
But they also have one that's, I think, 6'6", too, kind of like.
Yeah, they have a good little balance. So Texas Tech is a concern, but like you said, this team is not good enough, nor do they have the cachet to overlook any opponent. That's why you have to start, and that's where the want-to-know mentality comes in that Tom Herman preaches. The only thing I need to be thinking about is Stillwater, Oklahoma right now. Going to Oklahoma State and handling your business.
Yep.
That's it. Now, for us and the prognosticators out there, we can, we're starting to look ahead a little bit, because the other thing too that the elephant in the room is the committee. Trying to dress up your resume. Many of these teams, LSU is going to be playing Alabama. So it's also like, for us, not the team, but we're also kind of peeking to see what other teams are doing, because we want to see our team make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think that's a realistic goal with 5 games left.
If we take it one game at a time.
If you take it one game at a time, but you only have one ranked opponent left. So in order for them to...
it'll be 2.
Texas Tech...
Texas Tech will be ranked. In the regular season is ranked right. Yeah. In the regular season, I think it'll be 2, and then if we make it to the Big 12 championship, that'll be our 3rd one. Which so we just gotta, at this point, we just need to take care of business. Yeah. I mean, we just need to go in business trip to Stillwater.
I agree. Let's answer some questions. So last video we asked y'all to just anything y'all wanted us to touch in the review episode, and we actually have some questions here, so I'm gonna let Tran read them off, and we'll kind of go through it.
So one of the questions by D Maxi 9 was around our fourth quarter efficiencies and scoring, on why we're giving away so many points and we're not actually scoring in the fourth quarter. So that's
so Baylor and Kansas State come immediately to mind, because second half of those games we didn't score. I mean, we stopped at 23 against Baylor, and obviously the Kansas State game we didn't score in the second half as well. I do believe some of it has just been conservative, because we've been playing with the lead. We've been able to jump and we've had runs in every game, even the Maryland game. We've just had runs where we get off 2 or 3 touchdowns. We either get a defensive play or a special teams play, and something big happens, and we're able to kind of get a little bit of a cushion. I think they're really comfortable in their 4-minute drill and running the football to close games, which is fine. But when they've had some issues with penalties, and Oklahoma comes to mind, because I really do think, yes, Oklahoma scored 3 touchdowns, 6 minutes. I get it, and that's why people like Mac Brown and others in the media are still ranking Oklahoma over Texas, because they feel like when push comes to shove, I don't think Texas can do it again. But I think we let up. It wasn't even letting up. It was, we're trying to maul these guys, and we got a little too aggressive and started getting the penalties. And now it's really hard to run the clock out when you're in 2nd and 20 and 1st and 15 and all these type of things, right? So that to me is, I think Tom Herman in this bye week, kind of looking over the season, will be able to kind of address those things a little bit more. Maybe have a little bit more, like, I know they didn't score in the second half against Baylor, but I like the fact that they were throwing screen passes. Hey, everybody's walking up to stop the run. We have no fear at throwing it on the perimeter and moving the ball that way, especially when you have a strong position group like the wide receivers.
So I'm okay with it, to tell you the truth, as long as we're still winning. If we're taking care of business, because that was one of Charlie's biggest downfalls, was his clock management. I think he was not.
Oh, that definitely did him in many games. For sure.
And for us to run a no huddle or a up tempo pace when we're up 21 points or even 2 scores, it's unnecessary, to tell you the truth. I mean,
but there's people that say, why aren't we stepping on their necks, keeping our foot on the gas? What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, there's been games where we're still running the ball 3 times and we're running it down their throat and we're just driving down the field like it's nothing, and then just kneeling the ball. I mean, even they said that a couple of weeks ago that, look, we're ending the game on a 6-minute drive and then kneeling the ball.
That's true.
You know,
so that's a big chunk of, that's almost half the court.
Yeah. If we're able to shorten the game and keep the ball out of high potent offense's hands, I mean, I'm all for it as long as we keep as long as we keep
by design. Yeah.
And it's by design.
And in the Baylor game too, the other thing we didn't touch on, they missed 2 field goals in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So, you know, we've had a couple missed field goals where we've had opportunities to put more points on the board as well. Maybe we don't have, you know, some of those shutouts. What's the next one?
The next one was the rest of the opponents.
Okay.
And we went over it. That was by Sam Shepard.
Thank you, Sam Shepard, for your question. We actually just went through that earlier, so hopefully you're satisfied with that. If you have any more, if you want to go more in depth, just set us up. What's the next one?
Last one probably. I mean, it's
where we can end the video.
Yeah, it's basically if we make it to the, I don't want to say when we make it. It's like if we make it to the Big 12, can we beat OU again? And short answer, yes. Yeah, we can. Like, I mean, if we have the same play that we had last time we played them, they honestly can't guard our wide receivers. They can't guard our receiving cores. If we execute against this team, we could beat this team. I mean, a second string quarterback for TCU came in and was scoring points on that moving the football. Absolutely. They scored 27. Will they score on us? Yes, they'll score on us. Kyler Murray definitely is a great player, and he's very scary at quarterback to play against. And but yeah, we can beat them. We can beat this team. We can score on them, and I feel like our defense can actually stop them every once in a while for their drives.
We were up 45-24.
Yeah,
we were basically in skunk mode against OU. And again, not everything that he said about OU and paying his respects is valid. But when we had our offense going, you know, before we went into basically 4-minute drill in the third quarter, they couldn't stop us. Not just with the wide receivers, but also at the line of scrimmage. And I know that they got rid of Mike Stoops, and you got Ruffin McNeil in there, who's another guy that scares me because he was the D. I believe he was the D coordinator at Texas Tech when they beat us. But that's neither here nor there. And he should have gotten fired from East Carolina, by the way. But getting Ruffin McNeil in there, he has, you know, they are going to change up some things, but you can only do so much with that personnel. Yeah. They're not very strong up front. We dominated in the trenches. I think we can do that again. Am I going to pick Tech? We'll have to get there because there's so many variables, injuries, suspensions. Boyd Turpin just got kicked off of TCU. So, you know, it's college kids. Crazy stuff happens. You never know. But like you said, short answer, yes. This is a team for 3 quarters, we dominated. Flat out dominated.
And people also forget that with the 1.5 minute left when we got the ball
and we needed to get it, we ran right back down the field.
We drove it right back down the field without any issues.
Exactly.
So I mean, we can play against this team, and I think we match up very well against this team.
But we got to get there.
Yep.
We got to get there.
Can't overlook.
So yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think just about our thoughts in this video. We appreciate. I think this is our first video together, over 2,000 subscribers. So. You know, everybody that's joined the channel, and Jon has been working behind the scenes, putting together MP4s. We're gonna actually get these things up in a podcast form, hopefully at the end of this week.
Right.
And you know, just have more outlets for you guys to you know, get the information, content. Absolutely.
And everyone who's inviting us to the games, thank you. That's just super nice. I don't think you're going to. I'm not going to the Oklahoma State game. I'm not driving up to Silver. I would love to, but I can't. We're working on something for us to be out there for the West Virginia game. So we'll keep y'all posted.
For sure. And I won't be in Stillwater as well. I will be watching the game. My cousin, who's actually a high school football player himself, has a official visit this weekend that I'll be taking him to Sam Houston State. So
Nice.
I wish him luck up there. I'll be getting an opportunity to hang out with the team before the game and whatnot. But I'll be back in time to check out the Texas game at night.
Yeah.
Thank God it's a night game for that reason alone. But you guys, thank y'all so much. And, I've had a blast. Jon, appreciate it, man. Welcome.